Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with more iRacing. This time around though, we are taking on the VRS GT3 Sprint Series in the gorgeous new McLaren 720S GT3 Evo car, and it's my first ever wet race on iRacing as well. We've qualified P3 for this one, but ultimately I just want to survive. This race though, I must admit, I've left the entire one in because it is a fantastic battle of strategy as the afternoon goes on. So hopefully you guys want to sit back, grab some popcorn and a drink, enjoy this one. It's a long one, but it's a good one. And yeah, I will see you guys at the end of the race. Well, as mentioned in the intro then, this is my first ever wet race in iRacing, at least where I'm racing in the rain, I guess. The Watkins Glen 6 hours a couple of months ago I did with Eugene. He did all of our wet running throughout that race, but 40 minutes ahead of us then here from Silverstone. The rain is meant to hang on out there right the way through the session. And we'll wait and see when that number 3 Audi decides to go, which I believe, no, not quite yet. Thought he was going to go for it out of the final corner. There he goes. Maybe, no, he's still hesitating. There he finally goes then at the final corner. So a little bit of a sloppy kind of start for everybody tucked up behind. But we will immediately move up into P2. Oh, and almost into the side of the leader almost instantly there. So just got to take things nice and easy on this opening lap. You know, get everything up to temperature. Try to avoid Audi's sending it a little bit further behind as well. But I must admit, just from doing some free practice, you know, it's so fun. You know, the rain on sim is so fun, so dynamic, but also so scary. As I think if we make it through this race without any issues, then I will be incredibly happy and surprised, to be honest, because yeah, my practice time definitely have ran into some problems there, as I think, yeah, it's going to be, you know, Audi, McLaren and Porsche that seem to be dominating in terms of the lap times in practice and qualifying. So hopefully, yeah, obviously we're rocking the new McLaren, ready for this season. Looking forward to trying to get into as many VRS races, well, as we possibly can there, as that's immediately what I'm talking about. In terms of making mistakes, you just get a tiny bit of wheel spin, what feels like out of nowhere, and it will punish you. Let's not forget as well, obviously instant count does stay exactly the same as normal, so yeah, you've got to be really, really careful with that one. But we had a good race out in the Falcon Tyre Challenge in that video that went live yesterday. If you missed out on that one, go back and check it out. So I'm hoping we can try and sort of just continue that for as long as possible in the new season, as well as we make our way then out onto the hangar straight. I mean, if conditions stay like this, we're not even going to get close to 20 laps on the board over the course of this one. Looks like the weather is slowly meant to get better and better, but I don't think we'll see a switch away from the wet compounded tyres though, unless people are feeling very, very adventurous, and I don't know what that's going to do in terms of fuel usage either. Maybe, just maybe, you know, you can try and save the fuel and get to the end if you really kind of lift and coast. Obviously Silverstone, we know just how long the pit lane is around this venue as well. There is a leader, just runs a bit wide through the final corner. Might get a slowdown penalty for that one, might just get away with it. Oh no, that's exactly what I was worried about. Huge moment through turn 1. We will get a slowdown. Luckily we'll, well, I say save it, the car just straightened itself up. Don't think I can claim any kind of ownership over that save. That was just a bit lucky with the way the car gripped back up again. And well, that's how you cheat death, apparently, here at Silverstone. And if you've never watched any wet racing here on iRacing as well, that should give you a good indicator of how everything can be fine and then immediately completely wrong. And obviously, yeah, this place you've got a bit of runoff. But obviously on a lot of other tracks, that's not the case. So, you know, the wet weather is certainly an interesting aspect. It's divided opinions a lot more than I thought it would on the sim as well. I guess what is good is obviously this season they have updated it so not every single session over the week is going to feature the same weather as well, which was much needed. Because, of course, it was basically just favouring people, you know, that were doing 5 or 6 races. As apparently we're going to make another mistake down in towards the old turn 1 as well. We've got to stay away from the white lines And the curbs there, as somehow we still get a slow down as well. We'll just let that McLaren through, make sure we get rid of that one. And yeah, there we go. So stay away from the white lines. Try and not make the circuit as wide as I have been. And hope that, yeah, you don't hit too many puddles as well. Obviously, it is so different. You know, this is what the F1 games need in the wet conditions. On here, it feels brutal. On the F1 games, it's kind of just a minor inconvenience at the end of the day. I am running a setup, but I could not tell you kind of how wet orientated it is. I think it was meant to be a fairly drivable McLaren 720S setup inside the game as well, but it seemed to be working. So there we go. Audi that was up in P2 makes a bit of an error. We should be able to move back through. And there we go, back into the podium places then by the end of lap 2. So plenty going wrong for pretty much everybody, unless you're the race leader who's just opening up that gap at the front of the order. But like I said, you know, you've got to be careful with the instant count as well here. I think everybody, you know, it's going to be in your best interest just to drive at probably 85–90%. But you know what, I feel still, despite those couple of errors, I feel fairly confident in both our pace and the car's pace here. Of course, yeah, in the new McLaren, you know, you kind of expect it to be maybe a little bit OP throughout the first season. Obviously, it is introduced into the sim as well. So maybe that's going to provide us with some slightly stronger results. But I am intrigued to kind of learn it, kind of see how much I enjoy it over the course of the season as well, because it does feel very, very good fun to drive. Obviously, we made that review video back on, I believe it was Monday, wasn't it? When it came in just before the start of the new season. And yeah, safe to say so far, it's delivered up to the hype, I would say, at least for me. And I love the McLaren F1 BMW FINA livery we've got on this thing as well, because that livery for me is just so iconic. Older than myself, but still so cool. And wouldn't surprise me if we see like the UNO Clinic and things like that. Obviously the car that won the MOM, those kind of liveries onto it as well in the not too distant future. But tell you what, yeah, first race in this car, first race in the rain. The crew chief is going to be telling us a lot that the rain's meant to clear up. Great practice, qualifying, free practice beforehand and everything else. He kept saying it. Hasn't done it at all over the course of, you know, this session, if you will. But I think, yeah, trying to make overtakes as well is going to be very, very difficult unless the guy in front makes a mistake. You know, you're going to have to be basing it a lot off your relative and things like that. But of course, yeah, just trying to take it nice and easy when you are in the spray, because you don't want to just careen into the back of the guy in front of you and potentially ruin both of your races because you couldn't quite spot that he'd broke earlier. Is it looks like we have got 3 McLarens then all battling it out for the second and third place on the podium. Have to wait and see what the pace of Javier is behind us. It's 28.7 by the leader. So we're not a million miles away then, even with a couple of little mistakes on that lap. I think, you know, we have got the pace to kind of fight up towards the front. I mean, yeah, it's going to be so much more about kind of driving feel and confidence and not making little errors like that as well. Over the course of the race, it is so easy to kind of let these things snap out a little bit just for the aquaplane. And then obviously because of the traction control, everything like that, it will come back and haunt you almost immediately. And you just simply do not have time to react. And that can be quite a while. Yeah, I say it's quite scary. Obviously, it's instantaneous. You basically go from fine to race is over. And I would be intrigued to see what the attrition rate's going to be like. I can't wait to have a look through the incident report as well. Obviously, if we get to the end of this race, I guess. Because, yeah, that will certainly be interesting to see how everybody else copes as well. And obviously, you know, how many drivers make the same kind of mistakes that we've already made a couple of times early on. Oh, no, I don't want to be out there. Just blend off a little bit. Again, running just a little bit wide through the old turn 1. You know, the car really does drag you out onto those curves and things like that. It is going to be mighty tight on fuel, though. I think the game is saying we should get 18 laps in over the course of the race. So maybe a little bit of fuel saving is going to be required. There's no mandatory stop in VRS. But obviously, yeah, in dry races, you've always got a pit. In wet races, I'm not quite sure that's going to be the case. Is it reckons we've got 12.4 laps of fuel. So that would take us to the end of 16. So I think it might still be worth trying it. Like I said, you lose so much time in the pit lane here that surely this is going to be a circuit where it's more worth it than a lot of the other ones. But, yeah, only time will tell about that one, especially, you know, I think if we get up to that extra lap as well, then it might be a little bit more difficult to justify. That's why you don't hit that curb. Those sausage curbs around here are lethal. And you can see immediately puts us on the back foot, trying to defend from the guy behind.
218.5. That was a 219.7. The guy behind has just done a 218.2.
Yeah, you can see times are getting quicker and quicker by other drivers around us. So, yeah, that little mistake really kind of cost us getting a decent representative in. And you can just see again through turn 3, they're just struggling to get the car pointed where I want. I think Javier is just sensing an opportunity here, and immediately he's going to go for it. We will try and just back out, and we'll try and get a run off of the corner as well. Try and not make it too easy for him, I guess, as we'll try and have a look to the inside, down the back straight. Just show the nose. Whoa, he's going to give me a big old squeeze into the apex there. He was lucky to be backed out of that one. Otherwise, we could have very easily tipped him into a spin. But yeah, maybe say he's looking pretty quick.
The gap's now 0.5.
He went quicker than our top 2 last lap. Maybe if we can just follow him along for a little bit, that's going to be quite useful here. And you can just see immediately how much spray gets kicked up as well. You know, when you're in, I would say the slipstream of the car in front, but I don't think you're really gaining a lot due to it at the moment. I mean, just through here, you just don't even know what you're looking at. That difficult to kind of judge what is going on, as well as you just see through Mag to Beckett's everybody trying to just take slightly different lines. I'm well aware I'm losing time to the car in front, engineer. I can't do anything at the moment. As yet, still doesn't think we'll quite get that 18th lap, and that could be quite critical because fuel usage, we are still going slightly below what the game was expecting. I feel like generally I can be a fairly economical driver on iRacing as well when I need to be. It's often something that I have to try and employ during the endurance racing. You know, it's a useful skill to have at the end of the day if we can pull it off. But again, you know, perhaps everybody else is trying to do the same thing, or it's not going to be worth it. So there we go, 218.1 by the leader. What are we going to do? 219.3. It's just when you hear those puddles, every time it just makes you a little bit nervous. So yeah, it really does look like, you know, apart from the leader, who's obviously bolted from the rest of us. I don't know why I'm struggling so much through there. But yeah, it looks like leader as well just got the jump on everybody. But us three in the McLarens as well seem to just have a little bit of a gap. Wow, over the rest of the field, as you've got to be so careful. I must have binned it there about 3 times in practice over that inside curb. It will absolutely punish you if you're not careful. So we're lucky that we're able to get out of it that time. Just see again though. I mean, you are really just focusing on trying to avoid certain things each and every lap around this place, and obviously that makes overtaking more difficult because you're effectively on a narrow race circuit. Obviously you can try and squeeze out other people and things like that, but you know, people just will not budge as much in those kind of scenarios, as once again just kind of hear the water being kicked up as you get too close to those puddles. And then again on the exit you just kind of get dragged out by it. Try and keep your foot to the floor, let the traction control do what it's meant to, but it is not easy. He's good fun though, and I must admit, yeah, iRacing, haven't always given it credit over the years, but it does look stunning with the rain as well. I want to do more of this sim, man. I want to do more iRacing content. I want to, you know, just kind of go F124. Yeah, we might give that a miss for a while. I want to do more of this. It's so much fun. It's so different. It's so dynamic. It's just more entertaining, honestly, to drive. And that's the big thing, is it does look like it is slowly getting less and less damp. Still a lot of puddles though, and everything like that. So yeah, we have got to be careful in terms of all of that good stuff as well. But I mean, could we see a switch to dries?
The gap in front is now.
Is that going to be
15
possible
seconds.
in a race like this?
That lap time was 2:19.1.
Because we are saving just a little bit of fuel each and every lap, but I need to try and save like 0.1's laps worth every single time, and that's not going to be particularly easy to do. Whoa! Especially not when I make mistakes like that. We'll get a bit of unlucky loss of control 2x there, since we didn't get one for either of the other incidents we had. But yeah, I think fuel saving is maybe going to be top priority here. Whoa! No! That's the other one I've made mistakes of in practice, but luckily there was such a gap behind. Don't know how on earth there ended up being such a big gap a little bit further behind. What is going on? We're going to cook our tyres at this rate. Don't get an instant point, thank you. But 3 mistakes in the space of, well, 3 corners there. And somehow again, we have escaped death. I mean, is there any way I can save that fuel? That's what we're going to be focusing on, as we have lost so much time to the guy in front. I mean, that is, I think, going to be the way we're going to be able to beat those guys up there, unless obviously... Oh, no! They're just doing the same thing. Can we stop making errors? I'll take a 1x.
The gap's now 3.5 seconds. Track limits.
I don't know. According to the in-car telemetry, I don't think we've cooked the tyres this lap. I think, yeah, we just have made those errors. That's really, really cost us. But yeah, it is so frustrating, because you just get one lap like that. Obviously, you can't really make back up the time very easily, but it is so simple to lose it in a race like this, as we're barely 15 minutes in, though. So we've got 25 minutes left of this one. I mean, are we saving a little bit of fuel? That's what we've got to be careful of. We'll just blend on the throttle. Oh, not another one. Come on. I don't know how are we making this many errors on this lap, and now we've got these two really applying the pressure.
Still there.
Ooh, easy. Easy. So yeah, I mean, the game's not saying it doesn't think we're going to get those extra lap in at this stage of the afternoon. Times are still steadily improving, but yeah, we did save the fuel required that time round. This guy is very, very hungry to try and get past us, but this might end up being not necessarily a slow burn of a race, but one where kind of seeing how things pan out later on is going to be key. That might be the first time in about 4 laps I've gone through there without having to overcorrect too often. Jim's got it absolutely spot on though, we've got to make him work for it. So just try and tip it through the exit of the loop. I mean, as long as you get the power down, they can't really do a lot. See, slipstream isn't that powerful in these cars either, so you know, it is just about hitting your lines, doing everything you're meant to be doing. But yeah, at the moment, I reckon my Gran could drive this thing quick around here. Oh, easy does it. Easy does it. Trying to, you know, it's that idea of obviously you can't lose any kind of concentration either. You know, you've got to be hitting your lines every single time. See, there's little rivers of water as well as, oh, the guy behind me gets a huge moment. Just about able to keep out the wall. But, oh, and he goes straight off of the very next corner, though. So, it can happen to all of us. And now, suddenly, again, we'll have a little bit of breathing room. As this seems to be a good part of the track to try and save a little bit of fuel as well. Obviously, I know on some cars now they've removed the ability to kind of clutch them at kind of any speed higher than like 40 miles an hour or something. So, it is a lot more difficult.
It's now about 14 seconds.
Oh, we have lost so much time to those guys in front, I tell you what. Even if they do have to pit, they might still keep the advantage over me at the rate we're going. It's just, yeah, lift and blend. Nice and easy. I mean, obviously, if we can go to the end... if it makes the switch to dry compound tyres, though, all of this has been completely irrelevant. And then we're going to really be in the wars in the second half of this race. But I mean, admittedly, yeah, we are still P4, so, you know, as things go, it wouldn't be the worst result in the world. I would just like to obviously keep trying to get my iRacing up, trying to lose as little SR as possible, as obviously this will be our first MPR, sorry, race of the season. So we are definitely saving that fuel, though, just little bit by little bit at the moment. That is really, really good news. It is just a case, obviously, like I said, of whether that leader will get onto an extra lap. But again, obviously, if he's got a pit, he probably won't, or he shouldn't anyway. So that could also play into our hands late on. Easy does it. Easy does it. See, we're using 0.842 fuel that last lap. That's exactly what we need to keep targeting. Obviously throughout the rest of this race, because that would pretty much leave us perfect in terms of fuel usage right towards the end of this one. But we are already at 25 seconds behind race leader. Don't know how much time you'll lose in the pit lane, but it should be a fair amount. Obviously it is a 50-mile-an-hour pit lane here, but it is a very, very long pit lane, and a horrible one to kind of spot your way into as well. So there we go, we're halfway through. We've got 19 minutes of fuel, so we're pretty much on the cusp. Crew Chief will often just downplay that slightly rather than hype it up. So that is good news as well, as again, just blending off, trying to make my life easier through these corners as well, as we got so close to the grass there. That could have really punished us. See, I mean, surely the track, you know, iRacing, the track does take a while to dry up as well. In my experience, so I don't think we'll see a switch to dries in this race. It is saying that the rain is meant to stop, but the rain stopping and the track drying out, are two very different things. Let's just try and grab hold of it again. I'm not going to try and fight this guy too hard for it. If he'll get the run on me, then he'll get the run on me.
Come on, don't let him get away.
And again, he'll just try and tip in. Sorry, it's Piers this time. Oh, don't hit that curb, Matt. Don't hit that curb. And, well, looks like all of my battles so far have been against other McLaren drivers, so I guess that's quite interesting as well. Obviously, it will be the popular car, at least early on. And yeah, you can't even see where the guy in front's braking in the spray as well. There, you can kind of see the rear lights, but not a lot else, which is a little bit awkward as well there. But, you know, it's immersive, it's good fun as well, and that's the most important thing. You know, it makes you feel scared. It gives you an appreciation. The amount of people I know that sort of were like, oh, I'm decent at iRacing, I reckon I could be a real life racing driver, and then the rain came and they were like, not a chance. You've got to be mad to do this in real life. Was very, very funny. So, you know, it kind of goes to showcase just how good a job iRacing have done with it as well. Whereas I feel like I've got the pace to probably, even with the fuel saving, maybe just keep close to this guy. But like I said, you know, all of our focus is on that fuel. Just trying to open up the race for ourselves towards the end of the afternoon, seeing whether we can go to the end. Like I said, for all I know, everybody else is going to be able to do it anyway. But that's kind of irrelevant. You know, if we've got to be able to make sure that we can do it, whether anybody else can do it or not. Otherwise, it's, you know, kind of a pointless exercise worrying about whether everybody else is doing it as well. There, as I mean, yeah, our lap times are still not fantastic, but, you know, we haven't stacked it yet properly. And that's the most important thing. You know, if we can get to the end of our first ever wet race, then I will be a very, very happy man. And I'll be honest, I wasn't actually expecting this one to be a wet race when I signed up to it. But it has been good fun so far here, as, I mean, surely within kind of, yeah, the last 10 minutes or so, we might start to see cars peeling in. Again, just blending down the end of the straight. And as long as, obviously, the clock keeps ticking down, I don't, you know, it's certainly that we're nowhere near a point where I consider opting for dries. Crew Chief still telling me it should clear up quite soon, but, yeah, I don't think kind of within the next 15 minutes. And obviously, if you get late enough in, you know, the rain tyres will do a good enough job in the dry. They won't be fantastic, but, you know, they'll have a shot. The dry tyres in the wet absolutely won't. On the other hand, as there are puddles there again, I keep forgetting. I would just so I kind of tip it through. I mean, we are still saving near enough there. We might be slightly over the consumption I'd like on average over the last couple of laps, but nice that we're starting to get the sun shining as well in this race. This has felt like a real adventure up to this point. So, you know, these races are good fun, and you know, it's why I want to kind of leave more of the edit in as well. Because, you know, I feel like with iRacing, you know, a lot more people do enjoy kind of sitting down and watching the entirety of the race, you know, kind of waiting to see how it unfolds, rather than the F1 game, which of course is a lot more kind of cut and chopped to make sure, you know, you cut out all of the boring bits. But iRacing, there never really is any boring bits, especially in a race like this, you know, where strategy is key as well. I mean, yeah, we're not losing much to the guy in front. Have still got to be careful over every single curb around this circuit. I've got to be careful about where I'm putting the car as well, because just those little momentary lapses of concentration don't really do us any favours. I'll be completely honest.
That's 15 minutes.
15 minutes, so about 6 more laps, I would say. Yeah, just maybe it's 6, maybe it's 7. I don't quite know yet. It's still saying only. Well, it's saying it's technically just over 6 laps, isn't it? Still. But we've got 5.6 laps worth of fuel, so it is definitely going the right way. But it is just a question of whether it's going the right way fast enough as lap times for our top runners, or as the guy in front makes a bit of an error. Might be able to capitalise on that. Now, lap times for the guys in front really kind of have stagnated as well, so running a little bit slower. But yeah, not doing too badly in the grand scheme of things as well. There, as you can just see, the guy in front getting a little bit out of shape through the final couple of turns, so we will get just that little bit closer as well. Once again, just keep leaning on people, keep applying that pressure. You can see that time round we were quick and we saved more fuel, which I guess is good news. So doing everything we need to right now. I wonder if everybody else has kind of just realised what they need to be doing. You know, I'm really hoping this, you know, does kind of work out for us, because it has been something I've been thinking about pretty much since the get-go in this race. It would be nice to be rewarded for our kind of forward thinking. You know, not necessarily saying I deserve the win or anything like that. I would be intrigued to know where we'll come out relative to the leader once they do, well, if they have to pit. But, you know, I just want to, obviously, hopefully at least see the fruits of our labour pay off. And maybe we can benefit just a little bit from it as well there. You know, it's not what I want every VRS race to be or anything like that. But it is quite fun occasionally where you kind of get those little strategy mix-ups and things.
1.8 seconds.
Yeah, we've got to obviously stay fairly close to the guy in front. Don't hit that curb. Don't hit that curb. Oh, he's gone! Guy in front's gone. He's going to get it back, though. What a save. Well done, sir. Very impressed by that one. I thought that was going straight towards the outside wall in towards turn 1, but luckily he's able to keep it on the island. Yeah, very, very good job there. It is quite funny. Obviously, sometimes, as we've been a bit lucky with, the car will grip back up, and other times it just absolutely will not. But tipping our way through. Nice and easy. How's the fuel looking? Yeah, we're definitely still getting the numbers I need. This is going to be so close by the end of the afternoon. I'm just hoping, you know, crew chief hasn't messed up the calculation or anything like that.
It's just done a 217.5.
See, I mean, surely if they have got a pit, they are definitely not going to get... Obviously, they can't get the extra lap if we do get a pit stop in. So, I mean, the next lap's going to take us up to around the 30-minute mark. So you would expect, obviously, with a pit stop, 4 laps after that. So 5 laps left. We have got 4.5 laps worth of fuel. And we are just about bringing it up enough each and every time round there. Just trying to get the fuel burn. Oh, you know, I don't want to leave loads in the tank either. But want to try and make sure, yeah, that we get the fuel burn nailed towards the end of this one. And I mean, surely within the next couple of laps, you would be likely to see a couple of cars diving into the pit lane. I mean, the thing is, obviously, if someone hasn't thought about it, it's not really something you can now suddenly decide that you're going to need to do towards the end. You know, it has had to be something that we've really focused on for most of this race. Again, guy in front of me just getting a little bit twitchy. You know, maybe you could try and use fuel maps, things like that, but I'm not convinced, you know, they'll make that much of a difference and will probably, you know, cost you a lot more time than just doing, you know, the normal fuel saving techniques as well. Oh, come on, easy does it, easy does it. Roll on that power on the exit of Luffield. Again, don't, you know, it's actually beneficial to not lean on the traction control as much. If you're going through a part of the circuit like that, where the traction control does fire up quite a lot, probably is just worth it to blend out just a little bit more. As again, the guy in front just seem getting a little bit out of shape. I'd love a podium. If this strategy works, I'd love a podium. I feel like we would have deserved it. Once again, just blending the car through there. Good little way to save some fuel and not cost yourself much time either, which is kind of the aim of the game right now. I mean, if I was pushing full attack mode, I'm not convinced I'd be much quicker. You know, I don't think we'd find it easy to try and get around Piers either. You know, we'll see if I was completely focused on, you know, pushing to do that towards the end. So I'm really not convinced this is actually costing as much as 10 minutes to go. Hopefully only 4 more laps. But again, I mean, the pit stop's going to have to cost him like a good minute here, which I guess is possible. So I just don't know how much time you're going to lose by doing a pit stop. It is a really, really interesting race, and we might just end up in trouble. Oh, there we go. Someone's in. Marcos into the pit lane. So, yeah, some drivers are now having to start making that call. But I would have thought it'll be about now that we start seeing more and more cars in. Because that time around, yeah, we definitely used a little bit more than I would like. We've got to just keep doing a little bit more than we currently are. Otherwise, we are going to be in trouble. You know, I also don't want to be in the lead on the last lap or something like that and immediately running out of fuel or something really stupid halfway around the lap if I don't think we've got a fair shot. Oh, no! There goes Piers. That'll be a big hit of the wall as well. And that really does ruin what has been a fantastic drive so far with a couple of big saves over the last couple of laps. As these cars get light, they do become a bit more of a handful. That's because the fuel tanks at the rear of the vehicle put a lot of weight over obviously that back end as well. So just a momentary lapse for Piers there, and that will really, really cost him. So yeah, I mean, still probably close to half a lap under on fuel. But we know, obviously, yeah, we can coast it on that last lap. Obviously, once we know whether others are doing the same thing, we'll kind of have a better idea as to what our fuel situation is looking like. There's fuel warning light now flashing up, but that's okay. Still plenty more. That's 10 litres in the tank there. That's annoyed me. That's the first 1x I picked up through there. Kept doing that in practice. But I got away with it. Because there we go. Leader is into the pit lane. So that is really, really good to know for us. So they are all having to think about it. Will we even get ahead of him, though? That's the real question. Is P2 in? Looks like Piers is still going as well, which is good news. Oh, come on. Just nice and easy. Nice and easy. So Leandro stays out. He's able to go another one. But yeah, all of these guys not really able to do what we've been trying to. I mean, it might not even work for us whatsoever. Don't know where Brandon's going to be. Obviously, we'll kind of wait and see when he's heading back out the pit lane. Oh, he's still ahead of me. Okay, so yeah, that's... We haven't gained anywhere near as much as I thought we would. We are going to gain a couple of spots, though. But yeah, Brandon has absolutely done the business in this one. And will still come out ahead of me there. So you lose a good 30 seconds by pitting. So it might still be that we end up with that extra lap. It's going to be so tight towards the end of this race as well there. And, you know, it's track drying up as well. Things are just getting a little bit more unpredictable and a little bit more wild. Are we going to have to pit right towards the end of this one? We've got 2.4 laps, it reckons, at the moment. We've got to try and keep that as high as we possibly can, as I think we're starting to burn through more fuel late on in the day again, just as we're trying to be really, really gentle with it towards the end of this race. You can see, though, Brandon is definitely struggling, so not too sure if he opted for new tyres or what's going on with that Audi, but that gap is coming down. I mean, admittedly, I don't think he was kind of on raw pace much quicker than me, just obviously way more consistent. You know, that is definitely still good to have at the end of the day, but yeah, ultimately, if we can just kind of keep sights on him, that would be quite handy. So we need, yeah, we've got 2 laps worth of fuel just over still. So this is how much fuel we've still got to try and save towards the end. So our Piers has gone, so very, very sad to see. Maybe got a meatball for that damage that one knows will take him to the end of the afternoon. Yeah, that is a real, real shame as well. But I still reckon P2's on in this race. Team telling me we've got 2 laps worth of fuel left. So, I mean, this is going to be... It might not actually work, though, because I think we're going to get that extra lap. Oh, no! Brandon, big error. Big error down at the final couple of corners. So, we're going to, again, get even closer to him. And, well, are we going to get that extra lap? He's going to be mighty close towards the end of this, but I think we might just do it, which is really, really unfortunate for us. I mean, unless he keeps making a few more mistakes, oh, it's going to be so close. So close as to whether we get that extra lap or not. And I guess we'll find out at the end of the next one, won't we? We've almost saved the fuel that we need. But mistakes like that won't do us any favours. We need Brandon just to make one more error. That's what we're basically hoping for at this stage. As you can see, again, another guy behind. We'll try and sail around my outside as well. Yeah, I mean, there we go. Down the inside he'll go. We got blue flags out as well for a guy 3 wide temporarily. That's not what we need. So basically, it's all about what lap time. I mean, you know, Javier's still out there, isn't he? I completely forgot about Javier, so I think he might also be trying to fuel save towards the end of this one. This is getting absolutely ridiculous towards the end of this race, and if there's ever the opportunity to try and do a bit of a cheap trick by me, then I will obviously try to. But yeah, Javier is slowing down as well, so I think he's on uber fuel saving mode as well, up at the front of the order. But is he going to instigate? That means obviously we do get an extra lap in this car as well by staying out just that little bit longer. Surely this can't benefit him very well, though. So I'll just try and get the car slowed down. We've got 1.2 laps worth of fuel. We're still saving a little bit more each and every lap, but it is not much towards the end of this. We are still going to have to be really, really gentle with the car in the last couple of laps. Could Javier be the one that kind of screws us all here by getting onto that final lap too early? If the clock does strike 40, though, when he just scrap that extra lap, it'll do as well. So many questions left unanswered right towards the end of this. But I guess now is kind of the defining moment for us. We've got 1 lap worth of fuel to make our way down the back straight. Ferrari trying to look for it. We will just try and hold it nice and tidy on the apex. We're going to go for it. Leader's not coming up on me. What on earth thing on about? So I think, yeah, Javier is staying out there. He's trying to get one more out of it. But yeah, I think we might just get the extra lap as well, though. So that's even worse for us. As there we go. No, someone's in. Who's that? Who even is that? That is... Oh, Hammy. Into the pit lane then. So, well, white flag isn't out yet. But it might be this time. It might end up still coming out this time around. Otherwise, we are going to have to dive in and just go for a 1 lap splash and dash. You can hear there, 2 minutes left according to crew chief. I mean, how is Javier still out there? Surely he's going to run out of fuel on this lap, and that's going to make the difference. I mean, Leandro as well has closed back in on me, so we might not even get a podium despite all of this risk towards the end of the race there. How is Javier doing that up the front? Is he just going to conk out of fuel pretty soon? Is he just going to try and blend out towards the finish? I've got no idea what is going on right towards the end of this one, but I think whatever we're doing it is not quite working out the way I would have wanted it. Because I think we are going to get that extra lap. And I think we are barely going to have enough fuel to get there. So this is really, really compromising us now. And, well, yeah, maybe. You can see fuel pressure now as well is dipped down to low. So we've got yellows out. So that could be the difference. Could we now see Javier at the front just completely back off and try to make this the very last lap of the race? We know now Brandon won't make it. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of trickery if he wants to try and go for it. And, well, Javier, that gap's not coming down. That gap's not even coming down here. So, I don't think he cares. How on earth has he done that? He must have been uber fuel saving right since the get-go in this race. And as we make our way out into the back straight, though, I think we are about to run out. We have got 0.0 laps worth of fuel. We're just going to blend down this back straight. We're going to let the other McLaren by as well then. So we need just 1 lap worth of fuel. We tried to make it work, but it's not quite going to happen for us. As there we go, car is now conking out. We got to try. We got to try and make it still. Javier somehow has done this. I don't know how. As there we go, white flag is now out. But we're going to lose even more, I think. Is that Leandro gone? Surely not. What on earth is happening right towards the end of this one? Try and go all the way up to 6th gear there just to try and coast the car down in towards the pit lane. But this has not worked out for us. This has been an utter mistake. We tried it. We gambled it. But it isn't going to work for me. But, you know, sometimes you got to risk it. And just see what happens there as well. As luckily, we'll get to our pit box. But yeah, we are not going to need much fuel. Don't say, oh, I've put tyres on. No, I've put tyres on. Damn it. Don't replace, don't replace. Let me go, let me go, let me go. Because we're just going to lose even more time right towards the end of this. As where are we going to re-emerge relative to some other cars? There we go. Right out with the Audi of Marcos in P4. So I guess even with all that going on, we are still going to end up in a last lap battle here. And what a ridiculous race this has ended up being. Strategy getting involved. Somehow, we are going to see, I think, Javier take the dub on this one. So clearly has somehow made that fuel last right the way throughout there. Brandon as well, looking very, very quick. But how on earth has he done that in the lead of this race? I thought we were pretty good at fuel saving. But Javier has completely shown me up on how you do it. And well, if he can get to the end without losing much time, I'll be very, very impressed. Clearly he's not worried about the fuel. But are we going to see a stranded car at some point on this lap? So I want to try and get back to Marcus for that P4. Obviously, yeah, if we can just get, you know, to the finish line, get some iRacing, get some SR, everything. Well, we can't get any SR. Hopefully not lose too much SR, though, at the end of this one. As through in towards Maggard to Beckett's, we're going to go one final time. Javier is actually going to do this. I have no idea how, but he is going to walk away with this race victory, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or he's run out of fuel on the last lap. I'm a real idiot with it as well. Marcos, though, I think has just got enough pace on me. He's obviously trying to get the car back up to confidence as well there. And there we go. Javier's done it. A 2:18 last lap. He didn't even have to slow down. That is absolutely mental, but fair play to him. He absolutely deserves it there for making the strategy work. Marcos in towards the final couple of corners just seems to be struggling a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Unless he makes a bit of a mistake there, but in towards the final couple of corners we're going to go here at Silverstone. You can see how much we've rocked up to the back of him through those final couple of turns. Javier's going to take the win. For us, P3 on the grid. We tried the gamble. It didn't work out. It is going to be P5 come the checkered flag. I don't think we complain about that. We've survived our first ever wet race on the sim. Let's go take a look at our incident report and see just who didn't. Well, let's take a look then at our incident report, and it didn't take long before people were running into problems there. Porsche, before they even got to the start line, colliding with the Ferrari just in front of him, and in towards turn 1, you can see yet another Porsche apparently going for a very, very aggressive move there. 3 into 1 won't go. Other Porsche gets sent to the shadow round by the Ford Mustang. Admittedly, yeah, I think this guy that we're on board with was probably too aggressive. But the Mustang probably could have had a bit more awareness as well. There, as you can see again, the Audi that we watched dive bomb down at turn 3. We'll just make a little bit of contact with the McLaren as well. Then another Ford Mustang now getting involved. Oh, but then just a lazy tangle with the Corvette. Luckily, everybody else just about able to get around that one. And as we come towards the end of what I assume is lap 1, the number 20 car just rear ends that Porsche for some reason. I'm not too sure whether he was trying to go for a Sebastian Vettel-style switchback. As all we've got chaos in front. McLaren's gone round. Oh, and even more contact there as the Porsche and the Audi and the McLaren all come to blows. That is really, really disappointing there. And I think the McLaren from that one with some pretty irreparable damage, as I think he was on a one-way ticket towards the barrier. Audi doing what I almost did so many times. They're going for a spin and will be met with a McLaren to the face. Not ideal. And as he tries to rejoin, is he going to go? Surely he's not going to go for another spin on the exit. He runs a bit wide, but will gather it up off of the corner there. Ferrari, you can see, trying to avoid all of this going on. Just going to go for a spin himself on the exit of the corner there. As they make their way then down the back straight. Are we going to see McLaren? I think he's just going to get too close. Or is apparently just going to lose the rear end of that car. Not too sure how that one works. Porsche now, you don't want to use that curb, sir. And he's going to find out why. Heavy hit into the inside of the old Silman. There you can see actually followed my line on the exit of the corner as well. Where we lost a little bit of space there. Audi. There we go. That was the one that made the mistake, obviously, just in front of me. So we're going to see the other McLaren go through. And then we will also slip by, as well as the McLaren behind. Oh, a tiny bit of contact there, maybe netcode as well. And there we go, rear bumper gone. Ripped off that McLaren as well. GT3, it has been an expensive day if you are a team owner there. Ferrari, again, risks it on the curb and will eat the barrier and take McLaren with him as well. That McLaren has been in the wars so far in this race. And then again, the McLaren that was fighting up towards the front of the order just nicked the curb on the exit of the penultimate corner. And will find himself on the facing the wrong direction. Ferrari again, another lazy spin down at turn 4. I think this guy was already getting a little bit fed up with it at this stage of the day there. As Porsche going to get completely rammed into the back of by another Porsche there. So not too sure what was going on for that guy. But luckily, yeah, they both seem to live to fight another day. Another spinner down at the final couple of corners. What is that Porsche doing? He's just driving through everybody he possibly can at the moment. So not too sure how that one works out. But again, he'll make his way through. And then on the exit of the corner, is he going to lose it? Just finds the wall as well. So I think, to be honest, that's probably good for everybody else. Because he seemed to be a bit of a danger on the racetrack. This, I think, was Piers as well, battling with me. Fairly heavy shunt into the Armco barrier there. And really, really disappointing. Like I said, I'd made that mistake in practice. It's painful. It really, really hurts. Ferrari, third time's a charm, through the exit of the loop. Another lazy spin as well, apparently. We've got the Corvette now. Haven't seen many of these in today's race. Oh, face full of barrier there. Luckily, won't get collected by anybody else there, but disappointing for them. And that's how you... Well, I say rejoin. He hasn't quite got back yet, but that's the way you should be going when you're trying to rejoin the circuit. Ford Mustang in towards the final couple of corners. Way too hot. Tries to slow it down. Just goes for another lazy spin there and luckily doesn't get collected. And, of course, we're back with a Ferrari yet again. Finds a puddle. Way too optimistic on the brakes anyway. And will put himself in the gravel trap. It's a shame you can't really beat the car very easily. Not because I dislike the guy. But just I think it would be quite cool as well inside the sim. Mustang, another one for him. Pretty disappointing there. As surely we've got to be getting towards the end of these incidents. As, well, apparently now it's just this number 24 Ferrari that wants to steal the show. Another spinner there down at the first couple of corners. Mustang again into the barrier for you, sir. Disappointing, that wall. Yeah, taking its fair share of contact over the course of this race. Oh, a different place to run off. Someone on the exit of the old turn 1. Lazy spin. Can't screw off the speed. Just nudges the barrier there. And I think we'll only get away with just a bruised ego from that one. McLaren, again, just that little bit too late. Starts to panic. We'll go for a spin. And we'll lose a place yet again there as we're back with the Mustang. And another lazy spin down at the first couple of corners. Audi R8 running very, very wide through turn 1. And another lazy spin as well. As the McLaren there giving him all the room in the world Try and get away with that one. Here goes... Oh, this might have actually been... Yeah, that was actually Piers, wasn't it? Who actually probably was worse off there by getting caught, you know, not at a 90-degree angle towards that wall. I think he's given himself steering damage, as you can immediately see that car crabbing. And the Audi again. This was obviously the guy I think I was battling with towards the end. Just a little spin there will cost himself some time. Porsche, that looks like it's been in the wars. Again, too optimistic in towards turn 3. No, apparently not. Don't know what that one's about as we move to another Porsche who's already got a tank slapper by the time we join him. And into the wall. Audi R8, Martini logos over the curb. Get out of the throttle, sir. Nope. Big hit. Big hit. And that thing, I think, will be very worse for wear. And somehow is lucky not to get collected. Once again, as Porsche. Is he going to do anything? I mean, that car has been through the wars today. But I just think... I think he's got so much damage now that he just assumes he's having accidents here, there, and everywhere. I think that's all of them, though. Maybe the longest damage report I'll ever do inside iRacing. But let's go take a look at the final race results. Well, luckily we were able to keep hold of our 4.99 ISR once again. 66 I rating. We are slowly bringing all of it in the right direction at the moment there. But yeah, I mean, Javier, fantastic. From 7th on the grid, I think he knew the assignment right from the get-go there. Was able to make it work and will take the win for his troubles as well there. Brandon, a little bit unlucky in P2, but he did make a couple of mistakes towards the end, which did cost him there with Juanmi, Marcos and myself rounding out the top 5 there. Bartos behind us, though, the big winner of moving forward over the course of that race. 24th to 6th in the end. And, well, the award for least instant points is going to go to Kwame as well, with 0 over the course of that race. That is a very, very impressive tally. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon with more iRacing content.